If we want to build a great career, we might have to clear some tough exam or learn some new skill. And all these things may require us to study or learn for hours every day, maybe 6, 8, 10, sometimes even 12 hours a day, for months at a stretch. So if you have that requirement to do this long slog for months to come, how do you go about doing it where you don't get frustrated, you don't run into lack of motivation and quit? How do you maintain that momentum and maintain quality focus, not just put in the number of hours, but actually get real outcome? I have had that experience while preparing for civil services, when I had to prep for almost every day. I think I would be studying for at least 10 to 12 hours for 7 months. And similarly, when I prepared for IITJ, the same thing. I can give more examples, more experiences, but this should suffice that it is possible to put in intense effort for long periods of time. And for that, I'm going to give you some simple, practical ideas from my own experience. All right. So I'll share 6 ideas. So watch this video till the very end. Let's get started. Number 1, if you have to study for, let's say, 8, 10 hours, you have a lot of ground to cover. What should your approach be? Should you do a series of short sprints, or should you do one long marathon? So as an example, should you just study for 8, 10, 12 hours and keep reading till you just fall asleep or fall dead? Or should you do half an hour of focus and then take a break? Now it turns out, what I have experienced is that when we are learning should always be done in a binary mode, which means either learn with full and complete focus or don't learn. Don't read. That's okay. Take a break. Because it doesn't matter how many hours you put. What matters is how much were you able to absorb? Were you able to build that mental model? So learning without focus is much worse than not learning. I'll tell you why. First is you get exhausted. Second, you are reading the same thing. It's not entering your head. You're not really gaining anything. It makes you feel frustrated. It is so much better to just take a break and go and play something, maybe just go for a run, take a walk, do anything else. All right. So first point I want to give you is that don't do long sessions. Don't do 4 hours, 6 hours, continuous sessions. Do sprints, which means half an hour to 1 hour. 90 minutes is the upper limit. Don't go beyond that. All right. So let's say you do 50-minute sprints. All right. So you can do 50 minutes of full and complete focus, set a timer, and in those 50 minutes, no checking phones, no distractions, just learn what you're learning and then take a break. How much? You can take a 10 minutes, maybe do one more sprint. And once you're tired, take a long break. Don't hesitate. Remember, though I told you 8, 10, 12 hours, it is not the number of hours that matters. What matters is how much intensity and focus you brought to it. All right. So do lots of sprints. Don't do one long marathon. This is a simple but a very, very powerful secret. Most people make this mistake. They're sitting with some book and they keep going on and on. They're nodding their head and they're getting nothing out of it. Do not do that. Big mistake. All right. This is number 1. Number 2, for us to stay motivated and stay on track, if you have to walk on a path for a long period of time, you have to be able to see the end goal, because that goal has to pull us towards it. When I was preparing for IITJ entrance, in my mind, I had an image of what it would be like to study at IIT, what the hostel would be like, what the professors would be like. Again, this was just my fantasy. I had never been to an IIT, I had never seen the campus. But nevertheless, just having that fantastic idea in my head, it motivated me so much that I did not need any external motivation. The same thing for civil services. Same thing for any other challenge I've taken up in my life. The end goal, it has to be so vivid in your head that your mind, every time you get tired, you should think about that. It should automatically want you to get up and start moving. When I was prepping for civil services, this was exactly the case. In fact, many of my seniors had from IIT, they had gone to join the civil services, and they would share the experiences, what happens in, say, Missouri Academy or National Police Academy. And when you hear those experiences, in your mind, you have an imagery. So visualize it, feel it in your bones, and that end goal will motivate you to keep walking. This was number 2. Number 3, when we are walking on this long journey, there's a danger that we might get demotivated or tired or exhausted, and we might just feel like quitting. So, how do we not quit? So, I'm going to give you the answer, but before that, I want to give you some really cool neuroscience. Very simple ideas, but very, very powerful. When we have to focus on something, our brain releases a neurotransmitter called norepinephrine. If the name is too complicated, do not worry. Just think of it this way. Your brain releases a chemical which makes you alert, it makes you focused. But if the level of this chemical, if the norepinephrine level goes up, it becomes very high, it can make you very agitated and you might just quit. You might have noticed when you sit down to start learning something, sometimes the first 5-10 minutes you just feel like I have to get up and do something. What's happening is norepinephrine level in your brain, it's going up because you have to focus. But it also feels like agitation, you might quit. Now, how do you not quit? Idea is very simple. Your brain has to release another chemical called dopamine. You might have heard this dopamine as a chemical that is released when you feel good about something, when you get a high, you have an ice cream, or you get some sense of, you watch a nice movie. But here's the thing, dopamine is also released when we accomplish something. When your brain feels, wow, we are on right track, I've crossed a milestone. Whenever you have that feeling of the small accomplishment, your brain will release, or rather, the level of dopamine in your brain will go up. When dopamine goes up, it will tamp down on norepinephrine and you will want to continue further. That is why small achievements on the way will keep you going. So identify milestones. How many chapters you have covered? Or you could have, maybe you can maintain some kind of tracker. Okay, today I did 40 problems. I did 1 chapter. Write it down or put some tick marks. So find some mechanisms to identify your progress, hit those milestones and celebrate. In your mind, you should go like, wow, I did it. And that will cause dopamine release and that will motivate you to keep going. All right. So this was idea number 3, have milestones and celebrate your successes on the way. Simple idea, but there's real science behind it and it really works. Number 4, what I found was when preparing for civil services, I had a bunch of my friends, my own classmates and seniors, etc. And having those people around you, it motivated, in my case at least, it motivated me so much because you are not the only one. You can see that everybody is there, they're all focused. And in some sense, it's almost like everybody is energizing each other. You might have very often seen people preparing for especially exams like civil services, they would be doing in communities. It actually works. So you don't have to necessarily go and start looking for people before you start learning something. But if you can find a buddy or a bunch of people who are trying to achieve the same goal, it will truly motivate you. Simple idea, but again, it absolutely works. All right. Next, idea number 5 is fitness. Now, this 5th thing that I'm talking about. I wish I had done this when I was preparing for the civil services or IIT or exams like that. I learned these things later, but certainly they have immense value. 2 things I would recommend. One is have some fitness routine. Now you might say, okay, but I don't have time. I understand. Even half an hour, 30 minutes of some kind of run, maybe just you could do free body weight exercises, push-ups. I don't know what you would enjoy. If nothing else, just walk and run is fine. But some half an hour outdoor activity or some physical activity will energize you. And if you can do meditation for half an hour, that will be amazing. 1 hour of energizing yourself will make your learning sprints so much more effective and you'll enjoy it a lot more. All right. And finally, idea number 6, which is sleep. Again, you might say, I know this, but hold on. 2 reasons why sleep is important. When we have to do a lot, where do we cut down time from? What's the most common tendency? Sleep less. Bad idea. I've tried it out, by the way. It's not a great thing. 2 reasons why you should sleep well. One is sleep helps you recharge. Your mind is fresh. You can start absorbing. If you're tired and exhausted, you read a book, your mind will not be there. You cannot focus. You will not have the willpower and resolve. In fact, sleep is one of the primary things which improves your willpower and determination. All right. That's number 1. There is one more big benefit. When you learn, when is the learning actually absorbed in the brain? In some sense, when is the rewiring of circuits in the brain happening? What happens is when we read, we are marking these circuits for change, but actually, the actual rewiring in our brain happens when we sleep. So if I learn something today, the amount of sleep I get today night and tomorrow night will determine primarily how much of it is actually absorbed. And therefore, think of it this way: when you're sleeping, you are truly actually even learning. You are solidifying that learning. All right. So that is why cut down things from other things. Your smartphone, maybe if you're wasting time on other apps or video games or Netflix, cut time from those unproductive things. Do not cut on sleep. All right. 6 ideas, very simple, but they work. And I can tell you, nothing else works. All right. So now, if you have a big goal, just focus on these 6 things and do it. Just watching this video is not enough. Start implementing it. I can assure you, it will change everything. We can build our careers. We can achieve greatness. I'm not being poetic here. It's absolutely possible. It's in our hands. But we need the right approach. And hopefully what I've shared with you will help you build the right approach. Thank you for watching this video. And if you like this, subscribe to this channel. And I hope to see you soon. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.